You're the fish. Did you not hear my words?
I heard you. Not sure I understand, though.
'Tis the noise, lad. A fisher must be master of all the senses, eh? We're in the lair of the fang-tailed larfish, the greatest smeller of things foul beyond the deep core.
Are you saying we smell foul?
You're no lethal peach. Nae to worry. Being clever, I ken to apply the pungent musk of the glotsome crab to me suit. Oh, the old fishy won't know what hit him. One of my fiercer quarries, but the law was no match for Scuba Steph and his potent aromas. I come to think, you contributed a few smells of your own to the melee. I owe you a debt of gratitude.
Don't mention it.
Catch you later, laddie.
Hello there, and welcome to Lucky Number, episode 77 of the video game podcast PlayStation Pals. I'm your host, Nick, and I'm joined by the Luigi to my Mario, John. John, we got something to tease.
No, we don't.
No? Okay.
No.
All right, well, I won't tease it then.
Good, move on. Yes, very exciting news.
This is our year in review podcast, and if you remember earlier this year, we had mentioned that the name of the show is going to change, and it took us a very long time to decide, and we're not going to say what it is just yet until we're ready to completely switch everything over, but a new name is in fact coming. We did in fact choose one.
I'm honestly a little surprised how much I like the name. I thought it was definitely going to be one of those, just settle on it because I'm tired of thinking about it, and I'm not a creative person, even though I'm co-hosting a podcast, but it's a pretty good one. We're going to try and do a lot of different like overlays and logoing and things like that, to really try and take advantage of it. But yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it'll be a full press once everything's up, because we'll probably push for more social media, more Discord, more everything, get more people involved, and let's get this thing going.
That's right, man. It's about time.
Yeah.
We've put the work in. Whoever's in charge up there of luck, we want some.
Right.
So give me luck.
Yes.
Mr. Jesus. It is Christmas time. Jesus Christ. Give me some luck, if that's your thing.
But when we're really going to do it, we'll tease the episode before, so everyone's not like, what is this show in my feed that I've never heard of? So, but I had to tease it.
What do you think? Like probably February-ish is probably
when I'm counting on other people to make assets and stuff like that, I don't want to put a time frame. But
so I didn't just say a time frame. Strike that from the record.
So, but it's coming, and we've been sitting on this news for a little bit, but wanted to get that out there before the year was over. Touch on it.
Sure.
All right, and one more thing. I have a correction to make. There was a little bit of a scandal in our PS Plus wrap-up game show. I had accidentally written down the numbers of hours played for pal of the show, Jesse.
Uh-oh.
I had him at, 553? He was 6th. He was actually 773, which would make...
How could you?
I know, I felt so bad.
How could you?
Oh, God, don't lay it on me.
Dude. Jesse, if you're listening, thank you for continuing to listen, because I would have probably cut off cold turkey. That's 220 hours of hard-earned game time that was negated from the record.
Yeah. So, 773 hours played, which will put him in third place in our time played. Not as much as John, sorry.
Who was third place?
Me.
Oh, yeah, get fucked, Nick.
So I'm sorry about that, Jesse. That does push our overall days played to 190.
Okay, we're over half. I don't know if we're already over half a year or right under half a year, but...
Yeah, we were 182 before, so...
182, okay. Math is hard right now. My brain's still in a post-holiday fog.
All right, so that's it. So we can move into the show, and this is going to be a little different than our normal show because this is our year in review, our Game of the Year podcast, so no 6 things, none of that. We're going to do basically go over the year as a whole, and then we're going to touch on all the games we played this year, and then go right into our awards and a few listener awards that wrote in. And you can write in at PlayStationPalsPod@gmail.com or at Twitter, PSPalsPod, or a YouTube comment at PlayStation Pals. And I know I teased the new name. All that will change eventually, but for now,
also just come find me at my house. You can answer questions.
Yeah, just
some
knock
some
on
of
John's
you know
door.
where I live.
Yeah, knock on his door. Submit your question that way. That works too. So again, let's start off with 2023 in video games, and I'm just gonna pick some random ones here. But we as of right now, we are called PlayStation Pals. So let's talk about Sony. Now, Sony is having a record year. They're selling consoles like crazy. They had 2 big exclusives, Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2. But my year in recap for them is a year of Sony bungling.
Oh.
And here are my reasons. PSVR 2.
Yep.
We finally got a Sony showcase, and it sucked.
Yeah. Internet was not high on that.
Focus on live service from first-party offerings, Marathon, Concord, Fair Games.
Not going well.
Yep. Turmoil at Bungie.
Yep.
The Insomniac leak.
Sure.
The PSN Plus price increase.
Yep.
And then Naughty Dog canceling The Last of Us Online.
Yeah.
So am I pretty accurate?
Yeah, I mean, that has kind of been the vibe I've gotten. And, I didn't really feel it so much in the beginning of the year. But as the year progressed and every single time it seemed like we were talking about Sony as a broad sense, it was negative, right? And, it's things like you didn't even include with Connie Booth leaving, Jim Ryan's retirement being announced, which could just be, the time has come type thing. But, maybe it's involved with his seeming direction on the live service, which isn't panning out well. And they're just like, Jim, you got to go. So it does feel like there is some upper management shifting that needs to happen. But I also would argue that I think just video games are kind of in bungling turmoil territory right now too, where, budgets have gotten so out of control that companies are laying off people left, right, and center. I'm sure that's probably something you're about to bring up here in a little bit. And I think there's just some big time changes that the people high up are going to need to make. And Sony, seems like they made a little bit of bad calls, but hopefully once we hear of some more games that they're making, we can get our worries at ease, and we just go, cool, we're getting another Naughty Dog IP, we're getting another Sony Santa Monica IP, Ghost of Tsushima 2's coming. I'm happy to be a PlayStation gamer,
Yeah, as a broken record. We only know of, their live service offerings and Wolverine, nothing else in the pipeline. So, there's plenty of room to turn things around for PSVR 2, for the platform as a whole. And as I mentioned, they're not hurting. So
No, they're not hurting. I mean, PS5 is somehow outpacing PS4, which I don't think people would have thought, especially with the supply constraints that COVID brought. But I think 2024 is going to be kind of a weirdly important year for them, not in the sense that Xbox is going to overtake them or anything like that. But, if they come out, right, we don't know of any slated first-party games for 2024. If the only thing that does come out is like Concord and Fair Games or Concord and some interstitial or something like that, that's going to continue to feed those fears that some people are feeling right now, but it could also easily be alleviated by a showcase that goes, here's Bloodborne 2, or whatever. So we'll see.
Right. And this is also the year, speaking of Sony, that we got the Last of Us television show. Remember that, John? January, we got one of the best shows we've seen in a while, and definitely the best video game adaptation.
It's the single best video game story cross-media thing.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what awards it wins next year, because, like the Emmys and the Oscars, it'll be for sure nominated for a bunch of stuff. And
well, no Oscars, but we can't nominate TV shows in the Oscars.
Oh, sorry.
Come on.
All right. Well, whatever television
it'll get the primetime Emmy noms.
Yep.
Yeah, all those.
So that was very exciting, and again, that we got.
Yeah. I mean, and you could kind of say that is one of the better things that PlayStation did this year. Not only The Last of Us, but depending on how your metrics are looking or what you're evaluating, you could argue Twisted Metal was a big success. I mean, that was Peacock's most watched show ever, I think. Gran Turismo, never really heard anything bad about it. Never anything great either, but it does seem like PlayStation Studios or Productions or whatever the TV movie side of things is doing pretty well.
Yes, they are, and excited. We have to wait till 2025, unfortunately, for the television show to pick up season 2. But I'm sure we'll get some good news and some teases in 2024.
Yeah, who's Abby? That's all I want to know, really. Yeah. I mean, it's probably Caitlin Devers, but
right.
Let's see.
And then speaking of 2025. 2023 was also the year we got the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer.
Oh, I was about to see. Speaking of 2025, in 2020. Okay, anyway, good. I'm picking up what you're laying down.
This year we saw the first trailer for arguably the biggest game in all of gaming, and it, as you heard us talk about in this show, it did not disappoint.
No.
It was great. So.
Yeah, I have a list of biggest individual moments written down, and that was, probably some recency bias popping in, but that was the number one thing I thought of, was just how that just suffocated the rest of the internet for a week, and kind of still continues to do so. So, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I wonder if Rockstar is going to talk about the game a lot more next year, or if they're just going to hey, here it is.
Probably be
eventually.
At least close to another year
Yep.
before they touch on that game again, I'm sure.
Yep.
All right, this is also the year that Microsoft purchased Activision Blizzard,
Finally.
swallowed up another big publisher, one of the biggest, and the repercussions of this are yet to be seen, but it does seem that we saw with the Insomniac leak and a lot of leaks that, Sony's a little concerned about this.
Yeah, I think they are. Obviously, from a monetary standpoint, every single Call of Duty copy that gets sold on the PlayStation Network, they get a 30% cut of. That's a ton of money for doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
On the same side, if I was a Microsoft fan, which I'm not a fan, I just don't care about their ecosystem, that purchase would worry me a little bit. Just like $68 billion. I think Activision grosses about $2 billion in profit a year or something like that. So it's going to take forever to make up that money. We got the worst reviewed Call of Duty of ever that came out this year. So the trending is downward. It just, it seems like while it's the biggest purchase in gaming history, I don't know if it's going to pan out the way that they're hoping it to. I don't know. It's looking more and more like this whole entire purchase was the crown jewel of it wasn't Call of Duty, but it was King Mobile. Mm-hmm. If Microsoft tries to push this cloud initiative and Play Anywhere initiative, that's going to be a big piece of their pie.
For sure. But yeah, that happened this year. Like, geez. And then again, speaking of Xbox's big win this year was a third-person rhythm action game that was shadow dropped, Hi-Fi Rush. It was not Starfield or Redfall.
Nope.
Like, who would have thought? Who could have predicted that?
Yeah, started off the year so strong with that, and then I think
or Forza. I'm sorry, Forza as well.
Forza as well. Yep. Yeah, I think that was, a lot of the discussion was like, oh, this is going to be Xbox's year, mm-hmm. when that game came out, because it wasn't even expected, and it was an 89 on OpenCritic, something like that. Great game. I beat it. But only kind of downwards from there for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, they'll definitely have to pick it up next year, so we'll see. But, Hi-Fi Rush was definitely a positive of the year.
Yeah, you should play it, Nick.
Eventually. Yep. All right, and then to speak of your bummer note, it's a lot of layoffs in the gaming industry this year. Especially in the live service market, as we lost Knockout City, Rumbleverse, Crossfire X, and then just a volatile video game industry where you can't fail. Speaking of Immortals of Avium, as one of them is like, if you come out and don't hit, it's
Bye.
over.
Yep.
Lord of the Rings Golem is another one that just is just horrible, and it's gone. You're gone. The developer's gone.
Yeah, that was like a couple days after I think that came out that they announced that. Very similar to what was that PC game that came out like 2 weeks ago, that the day before or something?
Yeah, or something about tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looks like The Last of Us.
Yeah, that game that came out, and then immediately the team was like, oh, we got to shut down.
Yep.
Or change names or whatever they did.
Oh, they shut the game down.
That too.
But it's just, again, it's as John pointed out, that the video game budgets are insane. And part of the Insomniac leak, we saw that Spider-Man 2 cost $300 million to make and had to sell just over $5 million to break even.
Yeah, it's the fastest selling PlayStation exclusive ever, and then they get like kind of communication from Sony that'd be like, you guys might want to lay off some people. It's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding? Like, nobody's immune right now, and that's yeah, like I said, that's the scary part of the industry right now.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of a negative thing that's happening this year, and as we go into it, just one of the biggest years in gaming ever, and it still had this dark side to it. Mm-hmm. Another trend is horror games make a big return, especially survival action games. We saw it with 2 big remakes earlier in the year, Dead Space and Resident Evil 4, and then Alan Wake 2 as well in October. And 2 of those games got Game of the Year noms, Resident Evil 4 and Alan Wake 2. So, if you're a horror fan, you ate pretty good. Even if they were just remakes, they were really well done remakes. John and I both enjoyed Dead Space and Resident Evil 4, and Alan Wake 2 is just incredible. So...
Yeah, I kind of have a little note that's, remakes continue to make a strong case for games living on. Mm-hmm. If they're done right, if they're done well, it's I personally love them. I know there's some people out there that just want new experiences, and I get that. But seeing your favorite games with a completely new polish and completely, in the case of Resident Evil 4, they even kind of rework some of the things, about the game. So I'm all for those. And what do you think about the next one we need, Nick, being BioShock? What do you think about the next big remake?
I'd be okay with it.
Yeah,
I think.
That's what I'm thinking. I kind of feel I've always wanted to go back and replay that game, but I don't know. Every time I boot it up, I'm just like, eh.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's just old enough. Like Xbox 360 games, I'm not willing to go back that far.
Yeah, so
to play them.
Hopefully, we'll see something like that. But yeah, for sure.
All right, and then my final thing is just this has been arguably one of the best years in gaming overall. There's always people that will go like, this year's great. 1998, best year ever in gaming. When we saw that in 2018 as well, just a lot of good games. 2015 was also a great year. 2007, just a lot of these big gaming years, and now you can add 2023 to the list. Like the amount of games over 90, the amount of great games this year. There was just too many to play.
Yeah, this is the it's not indicator that it is in fact the best year, but this is the year with the most amount of games over 90. It's got 25 over 90, which it looks like there's no number on it, but 2011 weirdly enough had like 22 or 23. So. With even something like 2016 having 8. So, yeah, there's a ton of really good things, and the variety in them also I think is pretty cool. So there's a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah, and that's all I got. If you had anything else to add, John, but about this year in games.
The only other thing the 2 other things is I think you got to give a special, even though it's everywhere the last 3 months, but a special nod to Baldur's Gate 3.
Sure.
Really, at the start of the year, if you told anybody that Zelda wasn't going to just be a runaway game of the year winner,
right.
I think they would have called you crazy. And when that game came out and the hype that it received and the attention that it captured from a wide, it's kind of a niche game, right? A computer RPG, you played it, Nick, right? You know that it's not a game that's easy to jump into, and a game that you kind of have to be. It's a game almost meant for hardcore gamers, and it seemingly swept everybody's attention. So, and
a sequel to like one of the biggest franchises in gaming, there hasn't been a release in 20 years.
Yep, and that leads me into my second point is that part of the reason that this is one of the best years ever is that the hype fucking delivered, right? When you think of all the games that we were waiting for this year, whether it's Tears of the Kingdom, how are you going to improve on Breath of the Wild? Well, guess what? They did it. Alan Wake 2, right? Blew the first one out of the water. Sea of Stars was this hotly anticipated, oh my God, it's gorgeous, but is it going to be great? Yeah, guess what it is? Final Fantasy 16, Street Fighter 6, the remake game, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Wonder, everything that we wanted to hit felt like it hit.
Yeah,
and
there was the one exception. I think that's Redfall. I think that was the one.
Redfall, and you probably get a couple people that would say Starfield as well. Like,
yeah.
Just while it wasn't a bad game, I don't think anybody's going to say it's a bad game. It just didn't innovate on the formula that people were hoping it was going to.
Didn't live up to the standards of its predecessors.
Yeah, so I feel like I first really kind of had this thought when The Last of Us 2 was being made. I was like, how do you approach that, like, to come after the impact that The Last of Us had, and I guess I just got to trust creatives a little bit more because they know what they're doing, and it just seems like these developers are just getting a little bit better at their craft, and it shows in the reviews and in the games we play. So that's all I got, though.
Perfect. Yeah, this is
my theme of the year. It was the best of times and it was the worst of times.
Okay.
Because there's a weird amount of horrible games too. Gollum, King Kong.
Yeah.
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
But well, this is our first full year of the podcast. So what a year to have your first full year is just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
For sure. For sure.
And again, as we get into the games that we completed this year, it's like, holy shit. So do you have your list, John? Do you have a list of every game you've completed this year so far? No?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I can tell you this. On Switch, I beat Dave the Diver, and that is the only game I beat on Switch this year. I've probably played about half of Tears of the Kingdom, but I haven't beaten that. And then in terms of PlayStation games, it's really it's Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, Sea of Stars, Final Fantasy,
Spider-Man 2,
Cyberpunk, Elden Ring, Neon White, Cuphead. That might be about it. I might be missing one or two.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that's about it. So, but I know you do.
And again, the reason why I'm saying this is because how our game of the year works is it's a game you completed that year. So John can submit Cuphead because it's a game he completed this year. Mm-hmm. And again, we do that because, again, this is a side project for John and I. We're not industry insiders. We don't get codes for free. So the games we play, come out of our own pocket, and then we can't play every game that came out this year. Though I tried very hard. I came very close.
You did pretty good.
Because I actually completed 22 games this year. They are What Remains of Edith Finch, Dead Space, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Hogwarts Legacy, Norco, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, Horizon Forbidden West, Burning Shores, Persona 5 Royal, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Undertale, Life is Strange True Colors, Resident Evil 4, Street Fighter 6, Final Fantasy 16, Sonic Mania, Sea of Stars, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, The Callisto Protocol, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, Gotham Knights.
Ugh.
And then some partial playthroughs of Baldur's Gate 3, Armored Core 6, and Diablo 4.
Nice. It's quite a list. Quite a list, man.
Fuck.
You did it.
I did. So any of those games can be in any of my categories. So
yeah. Every game that I said takes up all of the nominations. Oh, there's one I have partly played through Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's but everything else, yeah, it'll be something from those games I listed. But yeah, not just this year.
How do you feel? A little bit of a diversion before we get into the awards themselves. Mm-hmm. How do you still feel about PlayStation Plus Extra? That's all you said. You said all you had to. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it's an incredible value for people who are not really as invested as we are.
Right,
and
because it is more expensive now.
I simply do not have the time.
Right.
Like I wish to hell I did. But I am lying to myself if I even tried. So no, I don't think I will be re-upping my subscription now that it's what, $140? It's a lot now.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think I will. But
yeah,
that's just a product of being a dad with 3 kids.
And with the most hours played, but we won't bring that part up. Because I only beat 5 games this year that were on that service, and that is way too low.
Which were the 5?
What Remains of Edith Finch.
Okay, you can get that for like $6.
Life is Strange True Colors.
Yeah, you don't need to play that.
Sea of Stars, The Callisto Protocol, and Gotham Knights, or was that? I think Gotham Knights was an extra game.
It was.
And Callisto Protocol might not have been either. I think that
was essential.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and no shade to those games, especially Sea of Stars, but you would have bought that regardless. But those are probably on the bottom edge of the list you read off, right? Like you played those just because they were there. Yeah,
because they're part of this service. But which I do like. I do like the idea of like trying games I wouldn't normally pay for, because I wouldn't pay for Gotham Knights. I just was like, oh, it's there. I'll just try it, and I was like, all right, I'll see this through.
Yeah,
it's not worth that price now.
I'll be sad if I don't have it, because even playing something like Power Wash Simulator, right? I was playing that the other day just because I wanted to turn my brain off, and it was weirdly cathartic. But like,
but again, that's an essential game too.
Oh, Sweet. I get to keep that then. I don't know. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's not for me probably.
No, me neither. They really need to do, especially when Xbox starts really firing on the first party games, is they gotta pony up and get more and more day and date games. And I think we got Chia and Sea of Stars.
Humanity.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, but also do they? Because if Xbox or if PS5 is outselling series, the Xbox Series 3-1, and there's 3-1 as many Xbox Series S's out there as X's, so 9-1 effectively PS5's Xbox Series X's. I don't know. Do you?
It's true, but you don't let up. That's
for sure. Yeah, you don't start giving out just pure garbage, and I don't think they will. I think publishers and developers like PlayStation. They like having their games on their platforms. They like the exposure.
Right.
But yeah, just make sure.
It's all about finding the right games for sure. But getting more of the games like Chia, Humanity, the ones we mentioned.
Yeah,
more games like that on there would definitely be a big win. I'm not expecting the next first party exclusive to be on here, but
well, I know like PlayStation has some sort of initiative ongoing in China, and I believe they just started some initiative in India as well to get some developers like some funds and stuff to make games for them. So yeah, I mean those are if a lot of those turn out to be good, and like that's the perfect kind of game to throw on there. But yeah, I mean it's like I said, man. If you are just getting back into gaming, or you have young kids, just get them extra.
That's true.
Just get them extra.
True.
At least start there, and
right.
then you can make a decision later. But
for sure, yeah, the value's there. I think just the way John and I play games, it's not.
I mean, Colin Moriarty of Sacred Symbols, who I bring up every single podcast, he doesn't use it either. You just reach. I feel like you reach a level that we're at, and it's just like I'm gonna buy the things I want.
Yeah, you're not going back as much.
And yeah, so
yeah. All right, so that's kind of it. That's our list of games. So, John, are you ready to go into our categories?
So ready. I love it. I love this type of shit, dude. I love lists. I love propping things out. I love annoying you with having honorable mentions and things. It's all great.
Yeah. You like to do that. Okay. So this is how it's going to work. We'll take turns between you, me, and the listeners. So we'll have you go first for best moment of the podcast.
All right. So this is the one category that I didn't just have like a whole bunch of things vomited out, but when I think back of the year, obviously a lot of fun moments, a lot of breakdowns of award shows that we were probably down on most of the time, or showcases, things like that. But when I think of my favorite moments, I really, really have always loved reoccurring segments, and so. Honorable mention to the PlayStation Pals top 50 games of all time. I had a lot of fun doing that. Like I just said, I love lists. I love seeing not only the games that people are actively playing, but what are the games that people truly, truly hold in high regard, and kind of going back and maybe experiencing some of those games. So I had a lot of fun doing that myself. But I gotta say, man, I'm having a ton of fun doing the Battle Royale. The Battle Royale has been, I think, a great way for us to vary the type of content that we do, have audience engagement a lot more.
Sure.
We're getting votes on Twitter, we're getting emails in from people. We were able to have fun with it and talk about our favorite characters as well. So I got to give the 2023 best moment of the podcast to the Battle Royale segment of the show.
Okay. Anyone in particular, or just all of them?
I mean, I don't know. Anyone in particular? For some reason, when I think back on it, I think of me getting really loud and obnoxious for Master Chief, even though he lost to Crash Bandicoot. But no, I only have probably one that I'm saddened by, and that's the one that I believe it was Jesse. It was Jesse or Mark wrote in about my shameful defending of 2B, even though she won. I got to do better for her.
Yeah.
But no, I just arguing with you is always fun.
Yeah, I think the highlight out of that is not in my 3 best moments, but definitely you taking down Mario with Shovel Knight was impressive.
That's true. Yeah, and he didn't even get a vote, right?
Yep. Yeah, that was something else.
What are you doing? I'm burying you.
All right, so my 3 top moments of the show. The very first one is one of my favorite parts of doing this show is clowning on John, like always like catching him off guard, or making fun of things that he does. So when he started playing the Xbox One, I knew I had to change the show in some way to clown on the fact that he is. Famously, he was gone for a while, and when he told me he bought a Series X, I bought him an Xbox T-shirt. So to say that he was a big Xbox fan now.
Well, and not only did you buy a T-shirt, you got a cardboard cutout of. Was it me? Was it my face?
Yeah.
Like a cardboard cutout, and then he dressed the cardboard cutout with the Xbox shirt, like I was in the office this whole time, because it was during when I was on paternity leave.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Jackass.
So of course, when he's playing Xbox, and I got the idea to convert the show, PlayStation Pals to Xbox Chums, that was great. And then when I took it a step further, where I was like, I could change the clip to an Xbox game, and then our startup sound, our intro music is the PlayStation boot up sound. I'll change that to the Xbox boot up sound, which I had never heard before. Before that
just
moment,
like a beep.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was great. The other segments are, I like the DEF CON level. That is one of my faves that we keep bringing back.
That's going to be coming back early next year.
Yeah, because in the video game industry, there's always this tension, right? Will Sony have a showcase, or when is this going to happen? All the people that love Grand Theft Auto, right? They're always, all these YouTubers and all these personalities are just building on that tension, just feeding off everyone. They just are starving for Grand Theft Auto 6 information, and which we called accurately. The DEF CON 1 for Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer was exactly accurate.
Yeah.
It
was.
So that's a segment I love, and a segment that will always be on the show is what we think is, and we're not always right, of course, but, just talk about that excitement level that people that listen to this podcast, people that follow the industry, you get sucked up in sometimes. So great segment. And then my final best moment I wanted to highlight is the Last of Us television show bonus episode that John and I did. Again, one of the best shows of the year. And just, I went back and I listened to that episode, and I was like, wow, we have some great points. We really know The Last of Us really well. And, talking about, what is it? Long Road is the...
Yeah, a long time.
Long time.
Yeah, I should go back and just watch just even that episode.
Right.
It's its own little story anyway.
And just a lot of good takes by John and I, and a lot of good previews as to what's to come and what we were hoping for. So just a great episode of the show overall. But I got to give it to Xbox Chums. That was just a great moment. To bring it the first time and then to bring it back again, just good stuff. I'll never get tired of
clowning on John.
Clowning on John. And then we do have two listeners that wrote in, Nick and Jesse. Nick also chose Xbox Chums, and then Jesse chose Battle Royale. So
hey, nice, good.
So again,
we're in tune with our audience. It's important.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next topic, and that's best level. I'll start this one.
Okay.
Again, 3 candidates. The first one, of course, is Initiation for We Sing from Alan Wake 2. This is a level in which you play through a music video of The Herald of Darkness. John's doing the dance right now. But a common theme that we've kind of come up with the last few weeks about video games is being surprised. John and I have been playing video games for so long. So when a video game surprises you, you got to get into it. So this whole segment where you play through a music video and it's just great. Just Alan Wake 2 is great, and this is the best level in the game by far, because you don't see that coming.
Yeah, and I like hearing Sam Lake talk about how they were inspired by Everything Everywhere All at Once with that, because they were I think when they were conceptualizing that segment, I think they were a little nervous about it, right? Obviously, you would be. You're like, what are we doing? This is weird.
Right.
Is the audience going to be receptive to it? Is it going to take them out of the experience? And universal acclaim. I think as soon as Alan Wake came out, I saw an IGN article about Alan Wake just did the best 15 minutes of gaming in decades or something.
Right.
Like, oh, what? So good.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Ashtray Maze and Control.
Yep. That was my. Well, we didn't do this category last year, but and also I didn't play Control last year, but that would have won my best level.
Yeah.
The year it came out.
So the build on that is great. My next candidate is Make Your Own Choices from Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I've talked about this before. This is the Black Cat mission. where Miles Morales is charged with trying to locate Black Cat as Kraven's forces hunt her down. And she sneaks into Doctor Strange's house and comes out with a wand that makes portals. And what happens next is my favorite mission in the whole game, in which you're going through portals a lot like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. You're going through Antarctica. She's summoning cars that you're trying to dodge. And then it ends with a battle with you and her fighting together, going through portals. It's just great. Again, another great surprise to a game that we've played 2 games previously between Miles Morales and Spider-Man 1 that just loved it. It was great.
Mm-hmm. Was that 3?
No, that was not.
Okay, I was like, you're just gonna do.
I'm always looking at you for a boondoggle.
Oh, no, I don't have a boondoggle for that.
Okay. And then my final best level is Nova Garen, which is from Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This is a ISB base, Imperial base, and again, one of the best parts of the Star Wars Jedi series is going to, locales, and one of my favorite levels in the first game was a fallen Star Destroyer that you had to try and make your way through. This is just an Imperial base, and again, it looks like anything out of Star Wars and the Imperials, but it was set on like an asteroid, and it's just a cool location and a cool level to explore. And yeah, you fuck up a lot of stormtroopers, but
Sweet.
It's fun. It's a good mission.
All right. You going over your winner, or you want me to do mine?
Yeah, we knew my winner.
Okay.
It's We Sing, of course.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, there's no way that doesn't win for you. No way.
Yeah. So congratulations, Alan Wake 2.
Perfect.
Phenomenal.
All right. So for my 3, we're going to start with a game that I've talked about nonstop this year, Neon White.
Oh, okay.
This is a game with 98 missions, right? And a lot of these take 5 seconds, 10, 12 seconds, so it's really hard to isolate any of those and to be like, oh, this one was great. But towards the end of the game, when you get arguably the coolest weapon ever.
Oh, okay, so the one I didn't see.
Yep, the one you didn't see. There is a level called Marathon, which is, it takes about 2.5 minutes to get through. And it's nonstop, go, 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 go. I'll talk more about why the weapon that you have in this level later when we get to best weapon.
Oh, okay.
Makes it so much fun. But it's everything peak about that game, just kind of extrapolate it out a little bit more, because if there's one thing that game doesn't do, it's let me play it like for longer periods of time, right? Instead of just these little short bursts. So shout out to Marathon. And then for my second one, even though this game came out last year as well, I did play Elden Ring for the first time this year. So Miquella's Halig Tree, which is end of the game type area. It's where you famously fight Millennia. You kind of climbing up these big wide branches through this gross looking tree, making your way to the top canopy, getting into the tree, and obviously that's where you're going to end up fighting Millennia. So it's a little bit large for a quote unquote level, but that's definitely one of the highlights of that game. And then my last one is also from Spider-Man 2, but not the mission you chose. It's the very first mission of the game, Surface Tension. I think it's a combination of being so excited for this game to come out, being so excited that I get to experience this game with my son. The music choice, Swing, that we've shown on this podcast is a fucking hype-ass song that you're ready to go. You're ready to be Peter and Miles, and you just jump right into it, swinging through the city, seeing the big sand cloud in the distance, finally getting into the sand cloud, seeing Sandman be huge. The fight's cool. It's just really, really set the tone for the game, and I was smiling the entire time.
Yeah.
And my ranking, because I did plat, gold, and silver for all of these, so the winner is Surface Tension from Spider-Man 2. That was my favorite level of the year. Then Miquella's Halig Tree and Marathon from Neon White coming in third.
Okay. Yeah, the Sandman's a tricky one because he's kind of a boss fight as well. But I will accept both for sure. Yeah, because there is more to it than just a life bar and you're just hanging out.
Yeah, it's an introduction to the game, right? You're getting to see the wingsuit right immediately, which is like, oh sweet, it's already right here. So yeah.
All right. So our listeners wrote in from Nick. We got Autumn Hills from Sea of Stars.
Great.
Because not only is the pixel art fantastic, but it is almost a 1-to-1 of the messenger level, but in an isometric 3D space.
Great choice.
And then Jesse said, The Ashtray Maze, which we just mentioned, from Control. He said, with old gods of Asgard running behind through it, it is an unforgettable level. And Hell yes, it is.
Yeah,
So,
dude, Ashtray Maze is dope.
yes. All right, John, do you want to take it with best music?
Sure. So, I mean, dude, this when we were making these lists, it really is just this is such an all-time year because I feel like any one of these could have won, and they would have won last year. But I don't remember what I nominated, so we'll hold that. But Tears of the Kingdom is incredible from everything I've played of it. I couldn't have it on a lot of this because I didn't see the end of it, but one thing I did get a very good feel for was the music, whether it's the blood moon rising and it getting kind of a very creepy vibe with the music as like these strings and like horror-y sounds kind of take effect, or just the intro scene when you're flying through the sky and all the just crazy amount of orchestral music is rising. It's just very, very special. Got to give a shout out to that. Sea of Stars. I really should have wrote down the composer's name. Maybe you
Eric
have it.
W. Brown, and that's a boondoggle.
Cool, perfect. Sea of Stars. You knew that the music was going to be good because also it had the composer from Chrono Trigger assisting as well, Yashinori Matsuda, maybe
that sounds
something
right.
close to that. But it's easy. That's not easy to make, orchestral music sound good, but I feel like there's an extra level of challenge when it comes to making it sound 16-bit Super Nintendo era-esque, and they were able to make it beautiful, climactic, everything you needed it to be throughout that game. So super, super good. But the winner, and maybe I should get a better cadence for how I do these, but my winner is Final Fantasy 16. The Soken system, named after the composer of the music, which is a kind of programmable system in the game that works with where you're at in a fight or where you're at in a moment or whatever it is, so that the music crescendos and decrescendos at the right moments. And I'll never forget the Bahamut fight, where the music is obviously just as epic as you can possibly imagine, and you're fighting in outer space, which is blowing my mind. And then you land that final strike through Bahamut, and like right as you're charging and accelerating towards him, it's like building, and you strike through, and it goes, bah! And it's just perfect timing. Really, gave me goosebumps. So the platinum goes to Final Fantasy 16, gold for Sea of Stars, and silver for Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay. So Final Fantasy 16 is also on my list as well with Sea of Stars. So we've got double boondoggles on best music.
Nice.
But the one you don't have, and it's got to be on the list, is Persona 5 Royal from Shoji Meguro, and of course Lynn. She's so good.
Lynn.
That whole soundtrack is great, and when Rivers in the Desert plays during that boss fight, that is just like the right moment with the right boss, and just
yeah,
so
it
good.
gives you that I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me kind of feel. in as much of a teenage Japanese RPG game can do.
Yeah. And then my winner also is Final Fantasy 16. Again, a great orchestral soundtrack. It won Best Music at the Game Awards, and rightfully so. It's just wild how good it is. It's very rememberable, and I just wish it was all on Spotify, but that's me.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
It's not just you. Stupid is what that is.
Nick wrote in, he said Sea of Stars, so obviously good choice. And then Jesse wrote in with Lies of P, which I also heard has a good soundtrack. So
Another little asterisk on me needing to play that game.
yes. All right. So let's move on to Best Indie. My first candidate for this, and I didn't play very many indie games, unfortunately.
This is my neck of the woods.
But I bet John and I could accurately predict each other's best indie.
Like the winner?
Yeah, the winner.
Yeah.
So my first candidate, of course, is Sea of Stars from Sabotage Studios. Again, a game that I didn't think to fall in love with, and I did. I mean, it pulled me away from Baldur's Gate 3, which is so impressive, considering, again, we said about the impact of that game, that I consumed Sea of Stars all through Labor Day weekend. Like, it was just day in and day out, just 8-hour sessions. And, it's very special games do that for you, Next up is What Remains of Edith Finch, the first game I beat this year from Giant Sparrow. I'm not going to go into what it is. Just 2 hours, play it. It's great. And then my final candidate, which was a kind of an experimental game that John and I both played, and we both could not explain at all, and that is Norco from Geography of Robots. Remember playing Norco?
A little bit.
That was another one you beat, right?
I beat it, yes. I didn't platinum it like you.
Yeah.
But I did beat it, yes.
Yeah. And what happens?
I don't know. I think you go to space. Doesn't there like a ship that takes off or something?
Yeah, there's a ship that takes off, but
yeah,
depending on your choices is whether or not it goes anywhere.
Yeah, that might be my most conflicted game of the year. If that was like a category where I liked a lot about it, but I left it just feeling kind of meh. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a very adventure game, like,
for sure.
So if you like those types of games, you might get into this, and it's cyberpunk vibe.
Another short one.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, my winner is Sea of Stars from Sabotage Studios. Just awesome, just all around pixel art, music, gameplay, characters. It brings up that 16-bit nostalgia we haven't had in quite a while since Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI. Just amazing, and why it won Best Indie at the Game Awards as well. So
sure. Shocker. I also have Sea of Stars on my list.
Yep. Boondoggle.
Don't really know what else I need to say. Dave the Diver is my next game. This game is probably my most surprising game of the year. I knew I wanted to play it when I saw it got a 90. Right, I was like, okay, I'm suckered in. What does this game have to offer? And so I was real pumped when it was coming to Switch. And I played this game for probably 40, 45 hours, and I enjoyed every single minute of it. There has been very few games in my life that have the level of surprises and just gameplay, innovative gameplay that just continues to evolve seemingly every single 20 minutes you're playing, right? You're going on these roguelike loop dives where you're spending the mornings and the afternoons going into the water, collecting fish, doing some missions, bringing it back up to your boat, spending the nights making sushi. And that's kind of what I thought the whole loop was going to be, but as you just progress through, there's 7 main chapters of the game. Every single chapter is adding a whole gameplay system that you weren't really expecting, whether it's having a growing farm where you can grow your own rice and vegetables for the sushi, or you have a chicken coop and you can collect the eggs, or you get through what you think is the bottom of the ocean and then nope, that's like the halfway mark, and here's this sea people village that is equipped with its own stores and its own missions and it's got its own currency, and then that just kind of it just doesn't stop for 40 hours, and I really, really hope that they bring it to PlayStation. I will play it again.
I was going to ask this
I will play it again because it's definitely a type of game. If they do the trophy system right, it would be a very enjoyable trophy.
Okay.
As long as I don't have to collect every type of fish, which it probably would, and that'd be kind of annoying. But awesome game. Love Dave the Diver. And then last game on the list came out last year. Shocker to nobody. Neon White. I'm not even going to say more about it.
My indie game of the year last year.
Yeah, but very special game to me. So the platinum goes to Neon White. Yeah, this is a very special game to me. The gold goes to Dave the Diver, and silver to Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
That's no shade to Sea of Stars. All 3 of those are 10s to me.
I'm just wondering if there's a future with Neon White in some form. Maybe another game, or at least some kind of anime project. I feel like it's so ripe for it to be
an anime would work, but I want to play. Like,
right? I know you do. I know you do.
So, and it's like I think Ben Esposito is the name of the guy who it's kind of his baby. I know he didn't solo it, but it's the same guy who made Donut County of all games.
Right.
You really just need to. The story's wrapped up. You don't need to do anything crazy. Just give me more level packs. Like it's a level pack game, and that'd be fine, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, that will be interesting if there's any more of a future for that franchise.
Yeah.
All right. Jesse wrote in with Stardew Valley, also a very good game, but a game that came out quite a while ago. That game's pretty long in the tooth, but cool that you got to it this year.
I want you to guess a year. I'm just because I don't know either. I'm gonna guess
2016.
I was gonna guess 2014.
Okay.
Let's see. 2016.
Okay, yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Nick wrote in with Vampire Survivors. Again, another big indie game.
That beats Sea of Stars. Holy cow. I know how much he loves Sea of Stars. I also
Yeah.
know how much he loves Vampire Survivors.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So pretty cool. All right, John, we're moving on to best weapon.
Love it. All right. Best weapon. First up, and this might be a little bit of asterisk, but I'm going to see if the panel allows it. I'm going with the Venom powers from Spider-Man 2. I know it's a wide array of things you can do, but it's a power fantasy that we've all wanted, playing as a agile, crazy ninja man, Spider-Man dude, but with the heft and craziness strength that Venom powers add. So the moment you get those and you start to just like throw your arms out at people and do all sorts of, you're this big goopy ball that can fly through the air or whatever, it's just really fun feeling. So does the panel allow that as an answer?
Yeah, I do allow that.
Okay, good. For my second choice, the weapon that carried me through my entire run of Elden Ring, the Moonveil Katana. What a weapon. Some may say it kind of makes the game almost on easy mode, but I don't give a fuck. It was still plenty hard for me, but having a katana that let me do my fast strikes, because I've always hated heavy feeling weapons in any game like this. I don't want a big hammer or a big axe or anything like that, but it allowed me to kind of do some ranged attacks with its special that it had. Really loved it. And then, as I mentioned earlier in the game, the Book of Life from Neon White. So you spend the entire game going through Neon White, having pistols and SMGs and rocket launchers and rifles and shotguns, and they all do their own different movement mechanic when you discard them, and that is incredible amounts of fun in and of itself. But then you get to the end of the game and you get the Book of Life. And what the Book of Life does is if you just have anything in your crosshairs, you're going to basically teleport to it. So one of the reasons that Neon White is so special to me is that the level design is incredibly well thought out around these mechanics. And there's a path that you're supposed to take. You can look at a level and go, okay, I go here, then I go here, then I go here, then I go here. But where the game truly shines and when it becomes really special is when you can break that game open. And the first time you break that game open is when you get the rocket launcher.
Yeah,
what the rocket launcher allows you to do is you can rocket jump, right? So you can shoot at your feet up walls. It's got a zip line mechanic when you discard it, so you can kind of just zip line to anything you want, and it allows you to kind of like, oh, that's the path, but can I just go up the side of this building? And yeah, you fucking can.
Yep.
And it allows you to break times open. Well, the Book of Life does that, but times like 10. And so when I was speaking of that marathon level earlier, yeah, there's a path, right? And it takes 2.5 minutes to get through. My son's record on that level, though, is like 18 seconds. Because you could just, like, if you can fine-tune that aiming to such a degree that you can see the enemy way in the fucking distance, you just teleport to it. And so it allows you to just go da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Super satisfying, amazing. Love the feel of that. And so my platinum goes to the Book of Life from Neon White. Pure, like it's. We've all felt it feels like a cheat code, a modern day cheat code,
right?
And that's always a good feeling. So platinum for Book of Life, Moonveil Katana gets gold, and the Venom powers get silver for me.
Okay, yeah, good choices, and yeah, the Neon White strength, man. When you got that rocket launcher, like you said,
I remember mine
just expanded.
Yeah, you came into work like.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell John about it.
I was like, what? He's like, no, I can't say anything. So.
All right, so let's go to my best weapons. The first one is the Titan icon from Final Fantasy 16. That is my favorite icon in the game because it really builds on that power fantasy that I like to feel sometimes. And when you perfectly time a block with a Titan icon, you kind of like open them up for like parry attacks, and it just feels good. Like you're wielding giant stone fist. And it feels so good. And just all the moves feel like that. They just have a giant weight to them that it's like that quote you just said about being in the. You're not in the.
You're not. I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yep.
That really made me feel like that.
The Doom Guy Creed.
Yeah. But and that game had so many icons, but it was hard to choose between that and Ifrit. But Titan icon gets the win there for me. Next up, I have
the win or gets the nom?
Nom.
Okay.
Out of all the ones in Final Fantasy 16.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Next up, I have the lightsabers / pistol stance from Star Wars Jedi Survivor. There are multiple stances in Jedi Survivor, including the Darth Maul one giant bow staff lightsaber, or you can dual wield lightsabers, or you can have the lightsaber with a giant hilt, like what's his face? Oh man, I should know this from the sequel trilogy.
Kylo?
Yeah, Kylo Ren. Thank you.
Man.
Yeah,
You
I'm
really
tired.
there.
This energy drink is not working. But yeah, that Kylo Ren has. But the lightsaber pistol stance just felt the best because it was a good mix of long range and close range combat, including if an enemy attacked you and you perfectly timed triangle, you would do like a quick draw laser blast up close for like massive damage. Most of the time it would kill them. And that was so satisfying. I ran through it the whole game the second I got it. So
Nice.
felt great. And then finally, it's a return of a very old weapon, but iconic, and that is the plasma cutter from Dead Space.
Good choice.
Got to use it again this year with the remake, and just as satisfying as ever. You know, the idea of angling your shots either vertically or horizontally to cut off the limbs of necromorphs. It's just always a great feeling, and that's always like the first weapon that I have to upgrade fully because it's the most satisfying.
Saw a list the other day of what is the greatest starting weapon in video game history, and it was a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of that, and a lot of the pistol from Halo. Those were kind of like the two that dominated. But I think Plasma Cutter has the edge.
Yeah.
Great weapon.
Yeah.
And there's a trophy for being the whole game with it, just with
That's
it.
true. That's true.
So they know how awesome it is.
And I'm going to give the win to the lightsaber / pistol combo from Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Like I said, it just felt great, and to use one stance the whole game,
Yep.
Just can't beat that.
It's your Moonveil katana.
Exactly. Just felt the best. All right, so I'm going to quiz John on what Nick wrote in. So his best weapon is from Astral Ascent. Are you familiar with Yalis?
Yeah, Yalis, yeah. The little fox catty guys.
Yeah, exactly.
They're cute.
Tiny cat creatures that spawn and fire off random abilities on the screen, lasers, ice shards that ricochet, etc. Adorable and super strong.
Yeah, Astral Ascent is a game that was. I'm actively playing it now, so I felt bad putting it on this list. But if I beat it, it could like retroactively make some lists. But I couldn't do it for today.
All right. And then I think Jesse is bringing back a boondoggle from last year, and that is the Dropnir Spear from God of War Ragnarok.
Nice.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm so excited when John and I get our hands on Valhalla to use that weapon again.
Yeah, that's speaking of my when I was like how do creatives iterate on things that are amazing, and I'm like they're not gonna make a weapon that I'm gonna want to use over the Leviathan axe, no way, and fool me twice, I guess, or whatever phrases are. But yeah, just throwing that thing nonstop. Because right, it's like you got a ring.
Yeah,
and
it
generates out the ring or something.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you're just constantly peppering those things all over the battlefield, and felt great up close too. So good one.
Yeah, and it wasn't Thor's hammer, which we all thought the extra weapon was going to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm surprised. That seems like something they could have added into Valhalla. I'm surprised. I mean, unless if it's some crazy.
it could be in there, but we haven't seen it. But
would have. We've avoided spoilers on that, but.
But he did also do a special shout out to the service weapon and weapon building system in Liza P. He said it's very good. So.
Damn it, Jesse! I don't need more games to play. Cool.
All right, so we're gonna move on to best boss fight. I'm gonna start with the lizard from Spider-Man 2. We talked about that in our bonus episode as my favorite. I don't know if it was your favorite.
No, I mean, like I said, for some reason, Sandman is just what I love. I love the Sandman. Go ahead.
Yeah. And this is going to come up again, but I also like boss fights that just aren't arena fights that kind of have multiple. I mean, I don't like multiple phases in boss fights technically, but if the other phases are other mechanics, and when they involve, Spider-Man swinging through New York to continue that boss fight, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So that's why I really like this boss fight. It's like starts one place, goes another place, and then goes into another fight, and just great overall to keep the fight interesting. My second candidate is a fight that you just mentioned in your best music category, and that is the Bahamut fight from Final Fantasy 16. There are a lot of great icon battles in that game. You could choose any of them.
That's a boondoggle.
I thought as much. But as John mentioned, fighting Bahamut in space with Phoenix and Ifrit, just great. And it had to outdo the Titan fight, which was batshit insane, and they somehow did it.
Yeah.
And My next best boss fight is from Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I do want to give a special shout out to Rick the door technician from Jedi Survivor.
What? Is this a fight?
Yes, it is.
I gotta look this up right now.
It's a fight where you're walking down a hall and a door opens and Rick the door technician comes through. He's just a standard soldier. Every boss fight in that game gets a big long health bar at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
He gets a big long health bar, but he dies in one shot. So
I hope that's
so he
how it
was
is.
running at me, and I was using my lightsaber / pistol stance. I just pistoled him, and he fell to the ground, and I was like, and then it's like, kind of like Dark Souls, when you beat a big boss. That
I'm just watching it right now.
yeah, it's better with audio because he's funny too. But
Is he pompous? Like, I'm gonna kick your
Yeah,
ass.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
so a special shout out to that boss fight in that game. But my actual favorite boss fight from that game is the Empire drill fight. Again, this is a boss fight that is not your typical health bar boss fight. It's kind of kind of like a Ratchet and Clank fight. It's kind of like got like a lot of platforming. It involves
It looks like a creature out of Horizon.
yeah, it does. It really does. But this is kind of like a great moment between Cal, who you play in the game, the Jedi, and Mirren, who has been kind of his pseudo love interest since the end of the first game. And it has a great moment where she's like, "Do you trust me?" And he's like,
Are they gonna ride a magic carpet?
and she's like, "Do you trust me?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then she kisses him during this fight. And he's like, "What was that for luck?" And she's like, "No, it was for me." And then you continue to fight and beat him. It was just a great sequence.
Aww.
The platforming's great. Using Mirren's abilities to teleport around the world is wild. This is one of those boss fights that at the end I had to clap.
Wow.
Because I was just like, wow. To be surprised and to have a moment like that in that game, just phenomenal.
Very nice.
So that makes the list as well. But it cannot beat the Bahamut fight from Final Fantasy 16. That is just crazy space battle between Final Fantasy summons, these icons of the Final Fantasy world, and there's nothing quite like it. So that wins for me.
All right. Well, for me, just before I get into it, so an asterisk, I beat Radon from Elden Ring last year, technically. So he's not on my list, but if it was, he's probably my favorite fight in that game. And then just a little asterisk for Millennia as well. I know a lot of people view her as the best fight in Elden Ring, but I'm not one of those guys that just loves the best, like whatever the best, hardest boss is automatically becomes the best fight. That's not what I like. It was
weird.
really cool. She sprouts her wings and all that stuff, but I think the waterfall dance is fucking bullshit. And so a great fight, but it doesn't make my list. But from that game, what does make my list, and I didn't fight last year, was Malekith, which is one of the, I think it's the boss fight you fight right before Millennia, of the Black Blade, who's like, kind of, you start the fight and it's got a big cloak over. It's this seemingly big monster, hunchback looking thing. You don't quite know what it is. In true Dark Souls / Soulsborne fashion, you get to the halfway point, you get a little cutscene, and all of a sudden it stabs this big medallion on his hand. Cloak gets shed off, becomes this big, fast, agile wolf creature thing,
okay, I've seen this.
with badass music, badass everything involved. I thought it was a great fight as well. So Malekith gets the nomination from Elden Ring. I already mentioned Boondoggle with Bahamut from FF16. I thought that fight was spectacular from front to back. And then my last nomination, also from Final Fantasy 16, is the Titan fight. I don't think there's any rules against having two from the same game, but that was also incredible. It's amazing when you start off fighting Titan kind of in this one-on-one arena as Ifrit, right? But then you get thrown from the arena seemingly miles away, and then you start running towards the Titan with some Devil May Cry ass hype music behind you, and it just, the scale, the badassery of it all is incredible. So the platinum is going to Bahamut. It is, not only is it one the best boss fight of this year, it's honestly one of the best boss fights I've ever played, I think, in video games at all.
Yeah.
Up there with, the intro to God of War 3 and some other things. But that fight, it's what cemented the game for me as being one of my favorites of the year. The gold is all going to Titan. Again, what more to be said? It's incredible. And then we're giving the silver to Malekith for the year.
Yeah, congratulations, Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, they if they did anything right, it was the boss fights and the epicness of of those. So
Yeah, you knew they were coming too.
Unbelievable. Yeah, you did. And that's why I feel like I wasn't excited to play this last DLC pack, but Leviathan might be hard to ignore.
Right. Yeah.
If people come and be like, it's up there with it.
Right.
I don't necessarily expect it to eclipse those fights, but if it's neck and neck with them, I'll probably play it.
Yeah. Great. All right. So the listeners wrote in. Nick said Sandman from Spider-Man 2.
Nice.
Again, great opening fight, great intro to the game. Great choice. And Jesse, who's continuing his a lot of weird choices from Jesse.
Hey, you already forgot how many hours he played.
Yeah, I know.
Leave Jesse alone.
Well, he's played a lot of older games this year.
Oh, good.
This one is Junichiro Ashina from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I beat him last night, and he's insanely hard but totally fair. I really had to get good to beat him.
Wait. ISSHIN?
Ash, I-N-A.
Ash, I-N-A. Okay, so it's not the final boss of the game.
Okay.
Because I've heard that is like one of the best fights ever, but one of the probably the hardest fight of the Soulsborne. No, it is him. I'm confused.
Okay.
I'm confused.
There might be other characters named with that last name, but Junichiro is the. It probably is him because again you're
fighting in like with the moon behind you and the white flowery field.
Yeah.
First time, second time.
Yeah, that's got to be him.
Okay, but hey, congrats, man. That's as a self-proclaimed Soulsborne lover, I have not beat Sekiro, and I own it. And the main reason I haven't really gone back is because he scares me. I don't want to get to the end of that game and just be like, "Fuck this."
Yeah.
Because it is, there's no leveling up. It literally is just like he said, get good at parrying.
Yeah.
And I think there's 4 phases in that fight. So
and Jesse had mentioned something similar with Liza P when he got stuck on that last real boss of that game. That sucks to hit that wall right at the end, but
yeah,
good. So he beat Sekiro, which is good on him. It's awesome.
It's awesome.
All right, John. Let's move on to best performance.
Best performance. All right. So this was probably a little bit easier category for you than it was for me. Being the indie, smaller title kind of player, especially this year with my girls becoming a little bit older, taking up a little bit more of my time. Wasn't a lot to choose from. However, Ben Starr, Clive Rossfield from Final Fantasy 16, I think did an incredible job. He did the stoic, solemn, to never change my voice like this type thing really well, but at the same time making you really, really like the character Clive. And he got emotional when he needed to. All the things that you would want from a voice actor. So great job, Ben Starr. Got to give, of course, a nomination to my boy Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker from Spider-Man 2. I think he had the huge task of needing to be both the loving, empathetic, funny Peter Parker that we know, as well as the venomized, infected Peter, and you could really feel it in his voice when he had to kind of have that voice inflection with that character. And then Steve Bloom of Neon White. This was, I was kind of stretching here a little bit, admittedly, but I think he did a great job as well. Steve Bloom is a very, very notable voice actor.
Yep.
Is he Wolverine?
We don't know, but
he was in the past.
Yes,
right?
He's been Wolverine multiple times.
So Nick might be able to speak more on what he's done, but I know he's one of those guys that just probably has like 500 credits to his name, and he did a great job here. Needing to do what he needed to do for that game. But the platinum is going to Yuri Lowenthal. He carried that game from a voice acting standpoint. No slouch. Naji. Crap, what's his last name? The guy who voices Miles. I know his first name is Naji. Hey, Naji. He did a great job as well. Laura Bailey as Mary Jane was great, but Yuri was a star of that show. And gold going to Ben Starr, silver going to Steve Bloom.
Great. And I didn't have any of your characters, so that's
interesting. You didn't have Ben Starr?
No. But
all right. What Cyberpunk and Baldur's Gate? Let's go. All right.
My first one is Ralph Ineson as Sidolphus Telemon from Final Fantasy 16. Yes, Ben Starr was great, not without a doubt. But I really wanted to highlight some voice actors that didn't get the shine, and Ralph Ineson is is definitely great because Sid is phenomenal.
Ralph Ineson is one of those. If you don't know that name, you know his voice.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I hear him a lot now that I'm playing Diablo 4 because he is
Oh, yeah.
a main character in that as well.
Go watch The Witch.
Okay, I'll try. But Sid, there's a Sid in every Final Fantasy game. You know, I love the Sid from Final Fantasy 7, and you know, just a great character, just interesting, the iconic voice, and just he kind of, you know, shepherds the player and Clive Rossfield through the game. And he's just great. He's the icon of Ramu as well, so he's badass all around. So I gotta give a shout out to that actor. Next up, I have Matthew Peretta. John may know him as Casper Darling in Control.
Oh, okay.
You know, the videos of the crazy scientist, that's him. And you also saw him sing Herald of Darkness because he is also Alan Wake in the Alan Wake series.
Wasn't the singer not the voice actor? I thought I read that.
The live action actor is not the voice actor.
Okay. All right.
So he did all the, you know, the performance, but the actual voice is Matthew Peretta. So cool. Shout out to him for Alan Wake 2. And then my final best performance is Minji Chang, who was Songbird in Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. I do think Idris Elba was phenomenal, but I think Minji Chang really made the choices that you had to make in this game harder because the performance was that good, the character was that interesting, and she's kind of the vocal point of the whole story. So had to give her
Song So Mi.
Yes.
Real name. Ooh.
Yeah.
What's her name? Minji?
Yeah.
Minji.
Minji.
Okay. Minji. Yeah, Minji.
But I'm going to give the best performance to Matthew Peretta as Alan Wake 2. I just love that voice, and there's a lot of internal dialogue in that with Alan Wake's voice, and he did a phenomenal job. So I have to give it to him.
Surprised you didn't have Asterion.
Yeah, no Baldur's Gate characters.
That's what everybody loves.
As much as I loved Asterion, because I was a bard, I didn't need him in my party as much as other classes would have.
Gotcha.
So.
All right. Well, you fucked up.
Yep, I did. All right. Nick wrote in. He did choose Yuri Lowenthal for Spider-Man 2.
Man of taste.
And Jesse wrote in with a character that we wrote last year, and that's Christopher Judge from God of War Ragnarok.
Yep. He would have won if I played this year.
He says the Valhalla
So
DLC goes to some dark places as Kratos, and he absolutely kills it. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I really should feel it. I feel like we should, as a podcast, feel ashamed that neither of us have checked that out yet.
What are we gonna do when they just announce DLC out of nowhere?
Well,
like no plans, and it seems to be Sony's way right now with the Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer mode and Burning Shores, and now Valhalla, and probably some Spider-Man 2 DLC that's gonna come out.
Because now they can get 2 sales out of us instead of 1. They know what you're doing, Nick.
I don't think that's their plan, and most people buy digitally anyway, so it's not
Yeah.
like most people lose access to their games like John and I do.
They honestly probably think they're doing everybody a favor.
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, here you go. I mean, at least it's all free. You know?
Right, exactly. So. All right, so let's move on to best character to have a drink with. I'm going to kick things off with another Jedi Survivor nominee, and that's Scuva Stev.
Scuba Step.
Yes. I have a picture of him on my computer.
That's like Scuba Steve?
Yeah, so he's supposed to be like Scuba Steve.
Is he really?
Yeah, yeah. So there's a collectible in the game, and they're fish, and he helps you with that. You kind of get a cantina as like your home base, which is a bar in Star Wars, and it has this giant aquarium in it. And Scuba Stev helps you fill that aquarium with.
He's got a starfish on his head.
With fish, and he's also an interesting character. In fact, he is the clip that people will hear before this episode. Is him talking. He's got like a Scottish accent. He's a very bizarre character, but he's very funny. Most people would probably think Torgal would be on here. Torgal was another fan favorite character that came out of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, but Scuba Stev is just funny.
Wait, Torgal? Of Final Fantasy 16?
No, Turgle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, yeah.
And then when you get more fish in your cantina, you go in there and you'll see him swimming in the aquarium with them. He's that
Nice.
kind of. He's a really small character. He's basically looks like a crustacean with a mustache in an astronaut suit. So He's a bizarre character.
How could you not want to have a drink with that guy?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even like Star Wars. It sounds great.
Next up, I have Jill Valentine from Resident Evil 3.
You horny bastard, you.
All right. Okay, now I got to explain myself. Typically, the female characters in videos don't do anything for me, but Jill Valentine is modeled off a real-life Russian model who is just gorgeous, and it looks so good. Like as I talked about when we talked about the game.
Yeah, she's really pretty.
Yeah, that she's incredibly gorgeous. Now, Jill Valentine does have a lot of PTSD, from being in, Resident Evil 1 and then the Raccoon City incident in Resident Evil 2 and 3. So she's got a lot of baggage, but I just want to look at her face.
Just don't ask her how work's going.
Yeah, how's work going?
I thought about adding some pretty good, like Judy from Cyberpunk and Pan Am.
Yeah.
But I was like, nah, then I wouldn't be able to talk to them because they're too pretty, and I'd clam up. That's why, a lot of confidence in me.
Yeah. And then finally, I have Morgana from Persona 5 Royal. This is the cat that talks to you in the real world and then turns into a cartoonish cat with a saber in the Mind Palaces. Just an overall great character, kind of like Sidolphus, kind of just shepherds the protagonist Joker through the game and is with you throughout everything. Like talks all the time, comments on everything you're doing, and is just a great character.
Nice. Well, you mentioned Sidolphus. I'm surprised you didn't have him because he's on my list. I want to have a drink with him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't want to have a drink with good old Sid, but yeah, Sidolphus Telemon. He just seems like one of the bros, one of the guys, one of the dudes. He buys around for the bar. He's got jokes. He's probably got something real serious to say, and
and you do drink with him in the game.
You do, too. Yeah. You're kind of like usually in a bar around him, but it just seems like a guy that has your back when you want him to have your back, and a guy that you clock out of work and you go have a beer with. So
and he's like a mentor too.
Yep.
Are you going through your list?
Yeah.
Because I didn't say who won.
Oh, sorry. Well,
it's Morgana.
Oh, okay.
Again, anyone who plays Persona 5 will know Morgana. Morgana's the best.
Morgana is the best. Well, yeah. So Sidolphus is one of them.
Okay. Good. That's a good choice.
Yes. Sin. I also from Sea of Stars chose Beast. I know. You thought
Garl?
You thought? Well, hold on. Beast is he is a experiment of Aphorels, whatever, the living glass, and he's got jokes. Can shapeshift. He just seems like somebody who's going to be around to kind of like just be the guy that makes everybody smile, makes everybody laugh. And I honestly would just have so many questions for him, like so many questions about him as a being. But of course, yes, Nick, I also have Garl from Sea of Stars in my nominations. The loving companion. I am shocked you do not have him on your list. I thought he was the runaway front runner for this category, but
because he can cook food for you.
Yeah, dude, he's there to make sure he's there to make sure you're doing it. Are you okay? He's gonna always make sure that everybody's having a good time. So yeah, Garl gets it for sure. He wins the platinum. Gold goes to Sidolphus. Silver goes to Beast. Garl is just like, I feel like this category was designed for.
Is that how you say it? Is it Beast? Because it's B''ST.
Beast, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure as well.
I always called him Best.
I did too, until I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like Beast, right? Beast.
Yeah, right.
But, Garl, Sid, Beast, in that order.
Okay. Yeah, great list. All right, Nick came with another character from Astral Ascent.
Ooh.
And so, John, are you familiar with Andromeda?
Yeah. I thought he was gonna pick what's his name? It's like Slippy or Sippy or I don't know. I don't know. But yes, Andromeda, great pick.
Yeah, he says literally owns a bar in a multiverse prison that the astral gods go to and is thousands of years old. Not bad looking either.
You horny boy.
And Jesse's gonna fill the spot for the characters we did miss in best performance and best character to have a drink with. He says all the companions from Baldur's Gate 3, they would have a great time and would have awesome stories to share. But more specifically, Shadowheart. Yes, Shadowheart is definitely one of the best companions in the game, but second to Asterion for sure. I think The bummer is that a lot of those other characters got kind of snubbed because Asterion was definitely the standout. So
can't nominate them all.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, you could, but that would seem weird.
All right, so that's it. We did 8 categories. That leaves us with just our Game of the Year. Game of the Year 2023, John. We're here.
We did it. We got through the year.
All right, so I'm gonna start. Of course, my first nominee, as in tradition, is a game that did not come out this year, and that is Persona 5 Royal. Wow, what a game to get its hooks into me. 100-hour JRPG, considered by most to be the best modern JRPG in the last 10 years probably. Just great overall. Great, it's very intimidating because you're kind of doing this daily schedule and you got to make sure you're spending the right amount of time with people and stuff like that. And then when do I go and attack the giant Mind Palace dungeons? So it's very intimidating up front, but once you get into it, it's just a game full of great combat, great music, a bunch of great characters, not just Morgana, but just a wonderful game. And I can't believe I platinumed the game with over 100 hours.
The moment you told me that you dug Danganronpa, was the moment I knew you had to play this. Because it's not a game that's hard to recommend to people, but there are certain people out there that will just have this aversion to super Japanese looking things, and I get that. That's not for everybody. But from your love of Mass Effect to liking Danganronpa, I was like, this is perfect for you. You should absolutely play this. And while I didn't play it myself, as I've talked about on the show, I was one of those people that didn't like the social angles inside of it. I just didn't have fun doing that. I did watch an entire 66-hour video, and it is the relationships that are forged in that game. You feel them, unlike a lot of stuff. Yeah, and
it's a very good game to play currently. I think a lot of lessons in there make you a better person overall as you kind of deal with everyone's demons. Don't be a gym teacher and diddle kids, right? That's a big one. Don't steal art from other people. Don't blackmail students, all kinds of stuff. So
good choice.
But a great game, and why Metaphor ReFantasio is that's pretty high on my list because it's all the same people working on that. So my next game is one of my highly anticipated, most anticipated games of the year, and that was Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac. What more needs to be said? They delivered. Again, the wingsuit is incredible. I didn't know I needed it. We were so focused on the quick travel, just, spot on the map. Bloop, I'm right there in 2 seconds, that the wingsuit was kind of downplayed a bit, but when you start using it, you're like, wow, I can move through this world so fast. And that's, again, a next-gen feeling game, 100%.
I wonder if studios will start to, as load times just become non-existent, be like, we got to almost increase the amount of time it takes to fast travel things to, allow people to not just blow through shit, but you can also just let the player decide.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to do it, that's for sure. But just overall, just a great game. And my next game is my biggest surprise of the year, just how much I loved it, and that's Alan Wake 2 from Remedy Entertainment. Just what a game. Just what an incredible experience from front to back, and why it got nominated for so many awards. You will not play anything like this. And this is another kind of similar to last year with A Plague Tale Requiem. That it's just so next gen. It feels like such a current gen. Well, I say next gen, but I mean current gen because.
Yeah, when does that go away? I feel like it never
now.
Does. Yeah, okay.
Starting now. Such a current gen game that the ability to change the world in real time, tell this incredible dual narrative story, and then shock you with and. I'm hiding some of the later stuff, but not just the we sing moment, but there's some great moments in the end of that game, and the ending is just great. Just overall, front to back, one of the best experiences I had this year. So
this is exciting. I don't know what you picked. That's exciting.
Where are you going to put your money on?
Persona.
You're right. As in continuing the tradition of me picking a game that did not come out this year, though I think this will be the last year that happens. Persona 5 Royal, like I said, to be, I didn't want to play Resident Evil 4 when I was playing this side by side. I just wanted to keep coming back and coming back and coming back for over 100 hours. That's not very many games can say that.
This was your number one played game, right? On your
Yes.
wrap up?
Yeah, 104 hours.
Yep.
Just great overall. And again, all of my Game of the Year nominees, I platinumed as well. So that's how much I loved all of them. But Persona 5 was something else. It was something incredible in a genre that I usually bounce off of pretty quickly. So for a game with turn-based combat that just grabbed me so hard,
It's so hard.
It wins my 2023 Game of the Year.
I can't wait to hold your feet to the fire with Persona 3 Reload. I can't wait. Because I know you're like, I don't want to go back, but like, I don't know. It looks pretty current, modern.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
A lot of JRPGs next year.
All right. For my list, I did 4. I didn't cut out the last one because...
Fine. My 4 is Jedi Survivor.
All right, there you go. Perfect. Just because I had them written down, and I didn't want to negate any of these, but I'm just gonna go from 4, 3, 2, 1 for these ones. So my bronze trophy award goes to Dave the Diver. Like I said, one of my most surprising games of the year. I expected to like it, but it wasn't until I really started to invest the time into it that it captured my attention so hard. Similarly to you with Resident Evil 4, playing Persona over that, I was playing this over Tears of the Kingdom. Like I would turn on my Switch and I'd see those two icons, and I would in every single time pick Dave the Diver. It was just the right combination of chill. A lot of times after dealing with my kids and work and whatnot, like my brain capacity is not there for what it need, what I need to do. But Dave the Diver was absolutely perfect. So surprises around every corner, never stopped giving back. Honestly, great characters, no voice acting or anything like that, but like Bancho, the Samuel L. Jackson looking sushi dude, is awesome. Great little mini cutscenes. I would encourage everybody out there to go check out some of those. They're fun and cute. And then just a really, really great loop that you expect with these kind of games. So
Gosh, when is it coming to PlayStation? It's got to be in the next few months.
I would like when they showed it.
So good about getting exclusives. Neon White.
Yeah, and then they don't say shit about it. Like
Hades.
It's almost like in their contracts, so like, okay, it's exclusive, and also you can't say when it's not going to be exclusive.
Right.
Like, just let us know.
But think of it, they had Hades, Neon White, and now this
and Hollow Knight.
Yeah, whoever's on Nintendo signing these deals.
Well,
they're the,
as I always say, with like developers wanting to work with PlayStation because of the install base. Like, fuck, you put a game on Switch, especially smaller indie type games, it's gonna sell there.
Yeah, Switch is also it is a Nintendo machine first, and then an indie machine second.
Yep,
for sure.
Yep. So, love me some Dave the Diver. My silver award is going to Final Fantasy 16. Top tier boss fights, some of the best boss fights I've ever experienced. Music was on point, character work was great, combat system was kind of simple, but like really fun to mess around with, and the ability to just kind of remove all your points, add all your points, change it up, we'll do whatever you want to do, was a really, really nice touch. I can't remember what it was called, but the system where you could kind of hit the touchpad and just read up on whatever it is you were talking about was great.
Active
time lore or something like that. That was a really, really clever way to do that, to allow you to kind of just stay engaged with the story wherever it was. I kind of almost feel like we got to the end of the year and like it's not like this game got forgotten about, but like I didn't see it a lot with things. So I'm not quite sure what that is, what the reason for that is. It's probably has something to do with their side quests weren't great. There were some rough edges. Some of the performance issues were weird. Like in combat, it was great, but outside of that, it was kind of framey. But overall, just a really, really enjoyable experience. Ever since I played Final Fantasy X, I always look forward to the next one of these in this series. So happy it delivered. Now, Nick, I got 2 games left. What are they?
Spider-Man 2 and Neon White.
Neon White. An Elden Ring.
Oh, yes. Okay. You did beat that.
And I've been thinking about how to order these 2 for a long time because...
Neither came out this year either.
Neither came out this year. I'm sorry. Therefore, my game of the year for this year is Final Fantasy 16. But I didn't know how to order these because on one hand, Neon White is weirdly one of the most personal games to me in a long, long time. Whether it's my platinum... that I got with it, where it was one of the not hardest, but just like I had to focus on it, and I had to decide that I was going to go for this because the amount of 70-minute runs that got cut short because I died one time was brutal. But Getting it was an incredible experience. The connection I have with my son with it, he to this day, I got him a PC for Christmas, and the very first thing he wanted was Neon White, just because, we always, I can aim with a mouse and stuff, and I'm like, all right, yeah, of course. But he just continues to want to play that game, and so it was really special. And then Elden Ring is a game of the generation. It's everything I want in a Soulsborne and more. But I'm going to give the gold to Neon White. I think it's just when it comes down as a video game critic and somebody analyzing it, it's hard to deny the complete package that Elden Ring is. So I'm going to give the gold to Neon White and then give that platinum to Elden Ring, my game of the year, even though it came out last year. It was everybody's game of the year last year, but it's my game of the year this year. It really... It's going to set the bar for games for me going forward. We've had a lot of conversations this year about open world games for me, and the seemingly amount of time that you need to put into these things to capture it all, and to want to see the main quest as well as the side stuff, and exploring this world. And I just wanted to eat up every single inch of it, which is unlike what my experience was with Cyberpunk or Red Dead or a lot of these other open world games. There's just something about and a lot of it's the combat. I love melee focused combat with the Souls systems, but the way that the world was designed as well, where the draw distance was so good that you could see in the distance and get there, which is not unlike any other thing. But, conversely to Cyberpunk, where I felt like I was just always surrounded by tall buildings, it really fed that sense of exploration. Whether it was stumbling across a random dungeon that was going to give you a cool new weapon at the end of it, the seemingly infinite amount of bosses that you would face. I think there was something like 85 variants, of different boss fights throughout the game. And it was just a really fun platinum to go get as well. Shadow of the Erd Tree is I keep forgetting about it, and I feel like that's almost a good thing, because I was telling Nick earlier as I was kind of finalizing this list, I was like, what game I want to play, Nick? I want to play Elden Ring, and Mark is out there probably playing it right now, because he's I think put in another 220 hours this year. But it's a game that I almost wish there weren't any other games to play, because I would just restart it, do a different build, restart it, do a different build. It's that engaging to me.
The fun thing about that DLC is how long it's been since Elden Ring released. I know you just beat it this year, but I mean, that was February of 2022 that this expansion will be huge. I just have this feeling that it's going to be much bigger than anyone was anticipating.
It's going to be big. Yeah. And, FromSoft has a history of the DLC bosses are harder than anything you've seen in the regular boss or in the regular game with Millennia. So makes me a little nervous there, but I also wonder, is this going to be next gen only? Could it even look better? Is that possible? I don't know, what their plans are for that, but, hopefully we see that mid to early next year, and I can sink my teeth into it again. But it was really hard deciding between Neon White and Elden Ring, because they both did something special for me in very different ways. I think it just kind of came down to look at the entire package and what it gives you, and that gave Elden Ring a little bit of a nudge. But I'm gonna Bernie Sanders the shit out of everybody. I'm once again asking you all to play Neon White, because I think it's on sale right now for like $15. It's gonna, if you like fast paced games, if you like, especially if you like time
I think
trials.
Regardless of anything, just try it.
Yeah, exactly. Just
really
try
unique.
it. Yep. And I really want you to one day go back into it.
I know.
Just to check out, the Weapon of the Year, Book of Life.
Right.
And but Elden Ring, congratulations. You are as good as everybody says you are.
Great. Well, our listeners...
Oh, wait. Honorable mention. Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Tears of the Kingdom, Sea of Stars. Okay. There we go.
Our listeners actually did pick games that came out this year, so at least they got that covered. Nick...
We suck.
Nick wrote in Sea of Stars. Of course, we all agree with that. That's...
Wait. How does Sea of Stars win your Game of the Year, but not your Indie Game of the Year?
Well, maybe he wanted to highlight both.
All right, I'll allow it. He's done so much for us. What can
You know, like when we see these game award shows, you know, it's like when one wins like best direction, you're like, oh, it didn't win game of the year then.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
like he just seems to conveniently happen that way.
Yeah.
And then Jesse picked Baldur's Gate 3, of course. Absolutely took him by surprise, and he fell in love with it instantly. Such a top tier game, and I don't, you know, we didn't bring it, but you know.
Yeah,
Nobody's gonna argue with that choice.
That is, I think that game's gonna plague my brain for a long time. Like where it's just, you know, we're gonna get into next year. There's gonna be tons of things to play, and then that game's gonna go on sale for $25, and I'll go,
Well, it's getting a physical edition next year,
Right.
so those will be out there. So
yeah, you know, and I just saw a video of who's the director, Sven.
yeah,
Whatever his.
good
Did you
luck.
see that? Did you see that video?
No,
They posted today. He sat down with Elijah Wood and Sean Astin.
Oh yeah,
and played a little bit, and I was like,
saw the thumbnail.
This seems so jolly and cool, and it's just you know, I would really have to be in the mood because. You know, I played a game like Gloomhaven, which is it's a board game, right? And playing that with my sister and my brother-in-law, and like the dice rolls and all that stuff and planning, it's all cool. But like, it just sucks when you miss a dice roll, man.
Yeah,
it just sucks.
It does.
So you really have to get in the right headspace.
Lots of quick loading.
Yeah, yeah. So,
All right, so that's it. That's the wrap up of 2023. It's over, and that's it. You know, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you all had a great year. I hope you enjoyed all the games you played and are looking forward to 2024 and all the games we get to play then. Because as a preview of next week, that's kind of it. We're going to start looking ahead now. Mm-hmm. We're going to go into predictions. We're going to go into most anticipated games of 2024. So
Hades 2 win.
So please, if you have some anticipated games of next year, please write in. And then just an overall 2024 outlook. I mean, we kind of briefly touched on it.
Do some predictions.
Last week with, you know, it's a year of Switch 2. Yep. It's a year of a possible PS5 Pro. You know, what is the slate first party wise for Nintendo and Sony, and what release dates will Microsoft have? It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a lot, and every single podcast I feel it more and more, but like the industry has just shifted in such a way where, you know, they almost relish the unknown, or they're all scared to talk or something. So yeah, we'll be actively going throughout the year. You know, I mean, I don't think we even knew Super Mario Wonder existed until like June or July, or whatever you picked it up in the league. But yeah, there's lots of surprises I'm sure in store for us. Name change, you know, that'll be super exciting, you know, so we can hopefully get some more some more content for you guys, or figure out different ways to engage the audience or expand the audience or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And play some games, hopefully. Hopefully I beat more than, I think I beat like 8 or 9 PlayStation games this year. It wasn't a lot, but they were good ones, so, you know, we'll see.
Well, yeah, speaking of that, I mean, we haven't touched on games in a while now. What games are you going to bring in? You've mentioned Astral Ascent.
Yeah, yep. So Astral Ascent took over my gaming for a good week or two, and then the fucking PlayStation sale happened, and they're like, here, play some more games for super cheap. So I bought Remnant 2.
Yeah.
So I've played a tiny bit of it. I really like the first one. It's just got a really, really nice gunplay feel to it, I guess. I don't know how else to explain it, but it scratches a lot of itches for me. So I'm going to try and jump into that, and so balance Astral Ascent and that, which is nice because I like a game like Astral Ascent where you can do a run or two, you know, not devote the whole night to it, but just keep it going. And then, over the holiday season, every child under the sun was at my house seemingly, so they all had my TV, and I just did some more Tears of the Kingdom, and hey, shocker, that game's great. So I know I keep talking about that game and never saying much about it besides like, oh, I'm checking it out again. But I beat like the first big temple last night, and so I'm really feeling it right now. We'll see. I would imagine it's gonna be. I don't know. We'll see how much.
Your new Elden Ring.
Yeah, probably. It'll be my game of the year next year.
Right.
You know. So, but yeah, probably one of those three. Okay.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4.
Oh, and Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we can talk about that. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to bring Diablo 4 for sure. I have tons of thoughts on that game. It's such a weird game. just it's a live service game, but not a live service game.
Is a game stuck in the past yet it's almost stuck in the future?
Yeah. There's a lot to that game, and I know listener Mark has also played it. Obviously, it was his number 4 game. So I wonder what his thoughts are on it. But as not a normal Diablo player, I beat Diablo 3, but stopped after that.
Did you get this physically?
Yeah. Yes. So yes, John will be able to borrow my copy when I finish it. But there's a lot to talk about with that game, as it treads this fine line of live service game and regular game. So we'll have to talk about all that.
Sweet.
And then more than one listener got a PlayStation Portal, so we got some emails to read too. Poor
John.
I love to clown on John, so we'll definitely have to bring those emails and make John even more thirsty for a PlayStation Portal.
I almost feel like you're more at fault at me not having a Portal than I am, because you should have been like, you need to get one of these. Do you understand how you're going to be able to game? And I'd be like, I know, but I shouldn't buy it. And you're like, no, you're going to be able to play games when you can't otherwise play games.
Right.
I blame you.
Well, it had that sticker shock of $200.
Yeah.
It's not. That's nothing.
Well,
to stop that.
it was one of those where it's like you kind of wanted to wait to hear about it, see what people thought, but it sold out immediately and it hasn't got. So it's like one of those. It's fine. PlayStation Direct has said they're going to have a restock in mid-January, so hopefully I can.
Yeah, it's just a waiting
those
game at this point. After the holidays, it'll probably be more readily available, but. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that's about it. That's enough to fill a pretty beefy episode next week. So I'm excited. I'm always excited to look at new games.
And we gotta finish. Battle Royale round 2 is gonna be starting soon.
Yeah, please vote. I do not want any more ties.
Yeah, ties suck.
So please vote. We have 3 polls out there. They'll some of them will end by the time you listen to this, so that's not a help. But the Ellie versus Leon. If you haven't voted yet, go to Twitter.
Is this still tied?
I think Ellie is ahead now by a vote.
I should go vote. Create some accounts.
Yeah, vote for Leon just to keep it at a tie. But that poll's still out there, and again, we'll be bringing that back next week. Do we remember who we had? Do you remember who we picked for next week?
No. Sonic was one of them, I think.
Yeah, Sonic. We're so bad.
Well, dude, it's Christmas time. Especially for me with families, it's like I'm not here presently in the mind most of the time. Right.
It was Jack versus Rayman and Sweet Tooth versus Sonic. So that's
Sweet Tooth versus Sonic is a good one.
So that'll continue, and that's another thing to look forward to in 2024 is round 2 of that.
Yep.
And John and I have to figure out how to make it different, so we're not just saying the same things over and over again. So
I can honor my beloved 2B.
Yeah, maybe it's in a way that you have to directly always compare it to the fighter that you're fighting. Like you can't just say like, oh, 2B is good with swords and she's got a droid that shoots. You can't say that. You gotta be like, well, when she's dealing with Leon, she can do this and this and this.
What do you think about cosplaying every battle and me and you actually fight?
I'd get expensive, but sure.
And lots of bruises. So we gotta fight again?
Yeah, 2 fights every week. So we fight in one costume, then we gotta change, bring on the next costume.
I like
that.
Really I'm now visualizing you walking in as a Sweet Tooth and me having like a blue mohawk. Good stuff.
That's exciting as well. So, all right. So for the song, we are going to leave you on a song from both of our best music of the year, Final Fantasy 16. This one is called Battle Theme. It's great. It's pretty much what plays every battle, unless you're doing a big icon or final boss fight. But, it's again from Masayoshi Soken, who also won Best Music at the Game of the Year, or the Game Awards.
Oh yeah.
Just so great. Man, soundtrack's so good, so I hope you enjoy. And that's it. So we thank you all for listening to all of our episodes this year. If you're just joining us, we love all of you. We love all of our listeners. We look forward to doing great things next year. So, say goodbye.
Stop now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Tequila Herradura Ultra. Extraordinary awaits.